Good morning. This is Sandy Gabe. I am your AAUW California president, and I am your principal for today. And I want to welcome you to our annual event. And I want to call the meeting to order, and it will be called to order at 9:07 a.m. I would like to remind you of what the mission of AAUW California is. Our mission is to help you meet your mission. That's the whole reason that the state is here, is to make sure that we can help in many ways to help you as branch leaders and branch members meet the mission of AAUW by providing programs, education, and resources. Today's meeting is going to have several different parts. So the first part is we're going to have the welcome, and then we're going to have a pep rally. For those of you who spent a little while since you've been in school, this is the time to get excited, and we'll be talking with Megan Cassell, who is our Director of Policy and Membership Advocacy at the national level. Then you're going to be visiting your classrooms, and these correspond to the committees that we have. And then we're going to have some Star Pupil Awards. So you might remember that we have an Equity Champion, we have a State Named Gift Honoree, we have several Branch Activity of the Year awards, and then I will present a President's Award. Then we'll conclude with our election update and introduction of the incoming Board of Directors, and then you have some electives to participate in. So I'm going to start first with our pep rally. Right here, call to order. All right. So our pep rally is going to be led by Megan Cassell. Megan is AAUW Senior Director of Policy and Member Advocacy. She leads AAUW's mission-driven policy work at the federal level and supports grassroots advocacy work of AAUW's membership network. She has a long history with AAUW, having previously worked in the public policy department before returning in 2023 to head up the policy and member advocacy. In addition to her work at AAUW National, Megan is also a member of her local branch in Alexandria, Virginia. Megan is particularly proud of her work to expand LGBTQ equality in the Deep South with the Human Rights Campaign. She's also proud of her work with the Conservation Lands Foundation, which resulted in the successful protection of more than 5 million acres of public land in California and the Western United States. Megan decided to pursue a master's degree in social work with a focus on community organizing from Howard University because she previously spent 2 years in AmeriCorps working with middle school students who faced social and educational challenges. This experience led her to want to look at how to create change on a larger level. And I'm pleased to introduce you to Megan. So Megan, you can turn your video on and unmute and go ahead and get started.
Perfect. Sandy, thank you so much. And good morning, AUW California. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here on behalf of National to talk with you really about one of my favorite subjects. And before I talk about Title IX, as I said, let me extend my thanks to the entire board of AUW California and everybody who's put together this conference and this real focus on schools. I'm coming to you a week after some very big news that I'm really excited about, and your state public policy chairs, Amy and Missy, know that this is truly one of my favorite things, and I'm eager to share this with you. So let me talk about Title IX. Lots of people have heard it, but I just want to talk a little bit about what it is and what is new, and then what we're all going to need to do to make sure that Title IX, as it's intended, is fully implemented in schools from K-12 to higher ed. But first, before I launch into what just happened last week, let me just level set with everyone about what Title IX is. AUW has been supporting Title IX since it was introduced and passed in Congress in 1972. And I just want to lay out here, I promise I won't read all the slides to you, but this one I will, that Title IX really is intended to be making sure that no person on the basis of sex shall be excluded from participation in, be denied the benefits of, or be subjected to discrimination under any educational program or activity receiving federal financial assistance. But moving ahead, and I'm, not sure how to move the slides, but I want to point out, so many of you have heard about Title IX in the context of sports. I was a soccer player. We just saw an amazing March Madness with women's basketball, but Title IX is so much more than sports. Title IX includes opportunities for women and students in terms of recruitment and admissions and housing, where people are living, what courses people have access to, really ensuring an entire variety of looking holistically at the educational environment to make sure that everybody has equal access to their education without harassment or discrimination. And Title IX is more than students. We can go to the next slide. I'm preempting myself. It's more than schools, but it's any educational institution that's receiving financial funding from the federal government. And that while that includes schools and colleges and universities, it also does include libraries and museums. So something that people may not be aware of. And then, as I just started to say, looking at the next slide, it's more than students. Title IX protects all the students in those institutions from sexual assault, discrimination, harassment, but it also does apply to the school staff, the teachers and faculty, people who are applying to those schools and institutions. So Title IX is more than sports. So looking ahead to the next slide, I want to have a, pep rallies shouldn't necessarily have quizzes, but today I will. So what does Title IX, the new Title IX rules, and Taylor Swift have in common? And just for those of you who are not Swifties, we'll show the answer, that they both dropped last Friday on April 19th. Why is this a big deal? A little bit of background on Title IX is that there was, 4 years ago, there was a substantial reversal under the DeVos Education Department that really undermined the civil rights protections that women and everybody in schools received. There were some substantial changes, a lot of confusion about who was covered and what was happening. So the Biden administration came in and they said they were going to make changes. And in 2022, they actually put forward proposed changes to Title IX that would really go back to a robust enforcement of civil rights protections for students. And I'm not going to lie, these rules took a long time to come out, but they finally did on last Friday. So there's a couple of very significant changes that I'll just go through really quickly here. So the first change is that we're seeing a change in definition, and we can move these forward, a change in definition of what is covered under sex-based harassment. And we're also seeing articulation of discrimination on regards to sexual orientation and gender identity is very clearly outlined, and robust protections for pregnant and parenting students. So let me go into each one of these in just a little bit of detail to explain what the breadth of what has changed here. So next slide. Under sex-based harassment, previously Title IX was seen as really looking at sexual harassment. But looking at sex-based harassment, this really expands the definition to, of course, including sexual harassment, but looking at hostile environments, including sexual assault, dating violence, interpersonal partner violence, stalking. So it's really expanded those definitions so that more of these gender-based issues are being covered. The next slide. Some of the other pieces that we're seeing are also, and this is on the next slide, we're also seeing clarification that LGBTQ students are absolutely covered by Title IX. The basis of this is actually from a Supreme Court case a couple of years ago. And I just want to draw a finer point to that in 2020, this Supreme Court, not previous Supreme Court with Ruth Bader Ginsburg, but this Supreme Court under Roberts, actually said that looking at an employment-related laws, that discrimination on the basis of sex included discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation and gender identity. And on the next slide, I just want to point out with a very fine point here that gender identity, our transgender students are protected from harassment and discrimination under Title IX. This is important, and it's going to, I'll talk a little bit more about how this is bringing us to some conflict in various schools. But on the next slide, let me point out the other big change to Title IX, that pregnancy technically has always been covered. Pregnant students have always been covered under Title IX. However, pregnant and parenting students really were not getting the full protections, and they were really being subjected to having to have doctor's notes for incredibly obvious pieces, things that, accommodations that they needed. So this is the first time that clarification about how Title IX relates to pregnant and parenting students, it has been proactively discussed in law since 1975. Some of the changes here is that schools have to be proactive about providing information to students, and they can't fundamentally alter students unless they have a doctor's note. These changes also relate to the staff and the employees at those institutions, so that pregnancy and parenting are compared to the treatment of other medical conditions. And when we're talking about what pregnancy and related medical conditions, this also means that students are protected if students have miscarriage or abortion, that voluntary leaves of absence are covered under Title IX. And this is consistent with other laws. So looking at the next slide, there's these rules are 1,500 pages of very specifically spelled out changes. They become effective on August 1st of this year. So this is not a lot of time for schools to update their Title IX policies, and there's a lot of work to be done. These rules are significantly changed from the rules that came out under the Trump and DeVos Department of Education. 65% of the rules are completely different. There's aspects of the rules that are restoring discretion and flexibility on process, but not on policy. And this actually means that schools have more of an ability to take a look at who's investigating, how cases are handled. Previously to these rules, if there was a sexual assault that happened off campus, that wasn't being covered. If a student dropped out after a situation, that case was dropped and couldn't be pursued. The previous rules also mandated that for sexual harassment situations on the higher ed, that there had to be a face-to-face process that allowed for cross-examination, a process that was significantly different than the grievance processes for other other similar infractions. The training requirements are annual training for all the staff. And there's new confidentiality rules that are going to protect students who are filing complaints. All of this, it's really detailed. It's so significant, and these are massive changes. And we should be excited about this because this Title IX has done so much to advance gender equity since 1972, but there's so much work that still remains. Sexual harassment continues to be a pervasive problem in both undergrad, graduate, and even in the K-12 space. We've seen great, opportunities for opening doors, both in classrooms and on the athletic fields, but inequities and barriers still remain. We're still seeing that men are dominating STEM fields and women do not feel comfortable, are being pushed out due to gender stereotypes out of certain fields. Even when we look at athletics, we can say this is magnificent, women have come so far, and that's great if you are a white woman like myself, but if you're a Black woman or Latina, you are not having equal access to sports under Title IX. And that's where these rules, when they are robustly implemented, are going to support more students and really provide full civil rights protections for students. So I'm super excited about this. I have been talking about this to anybody who will listen to me. And the reason is, and if we go to the next slide, part of the reason is there are challenges ahead. As excited as I am, and I hope that you are about this, this is so substantial for all students in school. However, we're already seeing legal challenges that are expected from groups like the Independent Women's Forum, who are already stating that they will, I'm surprised it hasn't happened by now, dropping lawsuits. We've already seen several states inform their schools and universities not to implement the rules. Florida, I'm looking at you. And we're anticipating that there will be a congressional challenge. And this is likely to come up. This Title IX should not be a political issue, but this is likely to come up at a time that's seen as politically advantageous for one side or the other. And so I anticipate probably in July or September that you'll be hearing from us about needing to fight back a congressional challenge. So that's the downside, but the upside is, where do we go from here? And I just want to start off, as you're starting off your meeting and really focusing on schools and all of the work that AUW California has done with students to support. I encourage you, continue to learn more with us about Title IX, what these changes are, and how we can support students. And we need to show allyship with students. One thing that is not in these rules, and it does create some confusion, is that these particular rules do not specifically address athletics. It's a lot of confusion. And especially for transgender students who are being told under these rules that they are absolutely covered by Title IX's protections, but there's still a lack of clarity about athletics and their ability to participate. We need to stand with students. We need to stand with student survivors of sexual assault and harassment. We need to stand with LGBTQ students, and we do need to stand with transgender students, because as AUW, we need to make life easier for students and not harder. And these Title IX rules make things easier. How can we do this? AUW California has really been leading with your school board project and looking at how to engage locally at that school board level meeting. This is so important in the next couple of months and in the next year ahead. We need to show schools that we've got their back, that the community wants inclusive and robust Title IX protections for all of our students. And Reach out to your Title IX coordinators, give them some love, invite them to speak. Maybe not before the rules go into effect on August 1st, but they're very busy right now, making sure that they're updating. But reach out, let them know that the community supports the work that they are doing. Because all of this is going to show local community support for these rules, because as I said, there's going to be a challenge in Congress. Our office is out in the DC area. We're in DC. I spend too much time looking at Congress. It is a very frustrating situation. And it's going to get more frustrating. We are going to need everybody here to make their voices heard, to be enthusiastic about Title IX. And we need to stand in allyship with the folks who are the most vulnerable students who are being put in the crosshairs with some of the pushback and debate on this. So as you spend the rest of your day talking about all of the work that you've done in California and that you're continuing to do, seriously, I want to thank you so much for what you've been doing. And thank you in advance for continuing to stand with students and to be champions of Title IX as we have in the past, and be those allies, be supportive, be that support in your communities for civil rights protections for all students. So that's my piece. And Sandy, I want to turn things back to you, thank everybody, and let people know if they want to learn more, reach out to me, reach out to Amy and Missy, your state public policy directors, and we're happy to continue the conversation and make sure that we can continue this going forward.
Great. Thanks, Megan. It's so amazing to be receiving this information hot off the press. And I know that we were, cutting it right to the limit here because the regs just came out and we wanted to make sure that you had time to talk about it. So I really appreciate your effort in getting that to us. So thank you. And I hope that you're welcome to stay for the rest of the session if you like. And for those of you who are interested in School Board Project, we'll have an elective later this afternoon. So let me turn it over to our next classroom. And our next classroom, or our first classroom this morning, is AAUW Fund, where we're going to meet Karen Vanderwerken, and she is the fund director. And Karen, are you ready for your students?
I am ready. Come on in, come on down. There's 2 or 3 seats in the back, and there's still one left in the front. There's always one left in the front. So the assignments that we completed with our fund committee this year included, we held 4 fund peer group meetings, national improved fund donation tracking based on our request. We educated members on how to process required minimum distribution donations. One of the best things that we did was to appoint Catherine Brown, Redlands branch, to manage our branch speaker request. The Fund Fellows participated in 24 branch and IBC meetings. 33 of our Scholar Fellows produced videos highlighting their studies. 55 branches nominated 129 named gift attendees, and there were 7 new legacy members added. More details include why do members contribute to AAUW Fund. AAUW Fund supports research and reports concerning topics such as gender pay gap, the simple truth, ability to produce AAUW-led research, and maintain a reputation as a leader in advancing equity for women and girls. 4% of the national budget is unrestricted donations. Growing fund support ensures long-term sustainability. The fund donations support strategic priorities like education and training, leadership, and economic security. Let's get into the nitty-gritty. AAUW's top 10 branches in contributions this year. They're showing on the board here. Marin, Palm Springs, Morgan Hill, La Mesa, El Cajon, Hayward, Castro Valley, Long Beach, Nevada County, Laguna Beach, Napa County, and Half Moon Bay. Send a hearty hand clap to all of these people, the individuals and the branches who donate. Next, we want to talk about the branches per capita, how much money per person in the branch are given. And here they are. Marin, Hayward, Castro Valley, Palm Springs, Delta, Contra Costa, La Mesa, El Cajon, Long Beach, Morgan Hill, Nevada County, Laguna Beach, and Clayton. And finally, we look at our California total contribution. And the contribution for 2024 is $534,245. California ranks #1 nationally in the greatest needs givings. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. You should go on to your next class now.
Thank you, Karen. I appreciate that. It's time to head in. Well, first of all, I wanted to say thank you. Your class has done an amazing job of connecting our members and helping them get excited about how their donation dollars support our fellows and grant recipients. And I think we're going to see you in the hallway later. So now it's time to head over to the finance office and to talk to our CFO, Kathy Ford.
Hello, and welcome to your very favorite class, all about financial reports, investment results, and other exciting topics such as accounting systems. So, where are we so far after 3 quarters? Our checking account, our operations account, is $100,000, but last year it was about $136,000. This decrease was intentional. The board voted to invest in several key areas. We had an in-person committee day. We invested in marketing AAUW California using a marketing consultant to create and place ads. And we also supported our GovTrek program in its 2nd year. Investment reserves accounts are a different story. These are our investments. The market value of all our reserves were $467,000, and that's up $51,000 over the same time last year. And our investments are allocated by type of investment, equity, cash, and fixed income, according to our investment policy, and performance is slightly above our benchmark measurement. So we've done well on investments. What about financial activity for the 9 months ended 3/31/24? That's our revenues and expenditures for 9 months. Membership dues income is $146,000. Last year at this point, it was $155,000. This is down, but slightly less than last year. Budgeted revenues for this year are $150,000, and we still have time to achieve that. Year-to-date expenditures for the period are $148,000. So what does the money go to? Our office manager, storage and supplies is $31,000. Julika Barrett keeps the wheels turning smoothly. Public policy includes our lobbyist as well as postage and supplies at $54,000. Travel expenditures to date is $32,000, primarily for committee day. Software and website costs total $13,000, a very small cost to keep our website and communications running smoothly in this age of the internet. Finance costs for the CPA reviewed annual report, which is now on our website, and government filings was $84.50 and is largely completed. Membership consultant and advertising at $7,500 is also largely completed. The CodeTrack startup support is year-to-date $1,000 and shipping and miscellaneous expenses $1,900. So next slide. We are tracking to budget, and we should meet our approved budget for 6/30/2024. The balance for cash and investment reserves are well above policy minimums. We're twice the minimum for the checking account. The operations reserve fund is $200,000 over minimum, and the state project reserve fund is $157,000 over minimum. Membership dues revenues have decreased over the prior year while expenses increased. But there's no current need to increase state dues, but we will continue to evaluate this for future years. So the Finance Committee set goals to support branches and also our biggest state project, TechTrack. TechTrack has a bigger and more complex budget and a lot more moving parts than AAUW California State Operations. Its budgeted revenue for the 2024 camps is 6.25 times the AAUW California dues revenues. So I really did get excited about putting this large project on a standard accounting system. Training developed and supported was provided by former Finance Committee members Roberta Schmaltz and Christine Ritter, who have continued working on the project, along with dedicated pilot camp treasurers. They have also assisted and supported the rest of the camp treasurers to implement QBO, QuickBooks Online, for all camps in 2024. This project has really been successful and provided a lot of benefit and control over this large project. Our additional assignments are our peer groups. Finance Committee members Carol McMillan, Indrani Chatterjee, and I held 3 peer group sessions to date, which have included reviewing and updating the finance website sections and showing where to find information in each peer group session. These peer groups are posted on the AAUW website, and they include government filings, key topic for branch treasurers beyond the basics, and how to use Hub for adding and renewing members. So your assignment is to study all sections and links on the finance section of the AAUW California site and make any recommendations to improve it. Class dismissed.
Thank you, Kathy. Thanks for helping us understand our finances and for the work you've done to provide those helpful educational sessions for our branch leaders. And I'm particularly excited about QuickBooks Online. I'm a geek, and I think it's important that we can manage our money easily. So thank you. All righty, it's time to attend one of our favorite classrooms. I think you'll agree that SpeechTrack is a particularly exciting topic. And I'm going to introduce you to Lana, who is our program director. And Lana, are you ready to join?
Yes, thank you, Principal Gabe. Hello, everyone. Welcome to speech class. I'm so very happy to see all of you, and I'm sure that you're all very happy that I was able to convince Principal Gabe to make speech class a mandatory part of your class schedule. And I hope you all have your 20-minute speeches prepared for today, and then wait, that's for tomorrow's agenda. Sorry about that. Sit back and relax. Today, we're going to talk about last month's 18th annual AAUW California State Speech Track Contest. It's a lot of words. But first, I want to personally thank the Foxhoven family for their generous support these last few years. Their donations have been instrumental in allowing us to offer very attractive rewards for our hardworking contestants. This year, we had 13 branches hold speech contests and submit the videos of their first place winners to compete in the state competition. To support those branches holding contests, the SpeechTrack Committee held peer group meetings, conducted an informative session for our coordinators to provide them with tips for preparing their judges for their contests. And for the branch contest, each contestant prepared and presented a 5 to 6 minute speech, all on the same topic. And the topic was selected by the Speech Track Committee to be based on the AAUW California public policy priorities. And this topic statement or question is worded with the intention to promote the mission of AAUW California. This year's topic was, if an educated population is essential to a nation's prosperity, then how can we ensure a robust public school curriculum that is accessible to all and teaches historically accurate information? Now, I will announce this year's top 5 winners of the state competition in a moment, but first, I would like to acknowledge our volunteer judges for the semifinal and final rounds of the competition. We are sincerely grateful for the time and effort that they provided to ensure our competitors are evaluated by fair, knowledgeable, and experienced judges. Our semifinal judges were Denise Stevens, Remy Palmer, Quentin Panic, Marla Zemenek, Elizabeth Harris, Stephen Kane, and for the final rounds, Gail Glazer, Judy Estrin, and Paul Sent. And I apologize sincerely if I mispronounced any of those names. So please join me in giving these generous volunteers a round of applause. They had a very tough job because all contestants gave excellent speeches. For their scoring, 50% of the total score for each contestant was based on content, such as how well they researched the topic, how organized was the information they presented, did they hold the audience interest, and was the information relevant to the topic statement. Another 50% was based on delivery, diction, volume, projection, eye contact, pacing, etc., etc. And the final scores were very, very tight. So now for the announcement of the top 5 contestants. The semifinal round identified the 4th and 5th place. And then the final rounds identified 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. In 5th place, receiving an honorable mention certificate and a $150 reward, was Angelina Yip, representing the Alhambra San Gabriel branch. In 4th place, receiving an honorable mention certificate and $250, was Nicholas Young, representing the California Online branch. In 3rd place, receiving $500, is Nenes Aji from the La Mesa El Cajon branch. In 2nd place, receiving $1,000, is Shreya Patel, representing the Poway Penasquitos branch. And our 1st place contestant, receiving $1,500, is Addison Horn, representing the Auburn branch. So due to time constraints in the class schedule, we're not able to show all of the top 3 contestant videos as we've done in the past, but I can show you the 1st place winning video. So without further ado, I present Addison Horn, representing the Auburn branch.
I am the granddaughter, niece, cousin, and daughter of educators. As a current senior in high school and someone who's grown up around teachers her whole life, the academic courses I have undergone have raised a very important question. Why are we learning this? It's easy to ask that sort of thing when you're 4 pages deep in algebra homework, but that doesn't diminish the question. In school, we are taught to foster our inquisitive nature with questions like who, what, when, where, and why. So now I apply this same attitude to the very curriculum we are taught. Hello, my name is Addison Horn, and I'm here to answer a pressing question in today's day and age. How can we ensure a robust public school curriculum that is accessible to all and teaches historically accurate information? Have you ever had to babysit kids before? It might start out peaceful until they start fighting over a Rubik's Cube. Unfortunately, I've had my fair share of moderating these arguments. Let me guess, it went something like this. Liam found it on the ground, but no, Sammy stole it and it was Bryson's all along. You see, I can recognize the importance of stories like these, how one event had 3 vastly different perspectives. We need to incorporate this idea into our school's curriculums. As a student myself, if I were to construct my own public school curriculum, I find what would support my peers and I best would be a career-focused education. An example of this would be my dual enrollment English 1A class I had taken in my junior year. This class meets English requirements while simultaneously training students for real-world situations. This included creating resumes, practicing job interviews, and applying for scholarships. Classes like these, which utilize the required understanding and go above and beyond the normal classroom environment, let students apply their skills to the real world and set them up for success in the future. Beyond required classes, career-focused pathways such as informational technology, health sciences, and advanced manufacturing creates increased opportunities for students. A study from Fordham Institute found that students who concentrate their career technical coursework are 21% more likely to graduate high school, an astounding statistic. Giving students a chance to find what they are passionate about will support their transition into life after high school. Now, when it comes to a school's curriculum, we must find a way to ensure accuracy. But how? Well, when we teach topics, we must do so as truthfully and inclusively as we can. This means acknowledging the uncomfortable truths of our past, which may include systemic injustices and cultural biases. In fact, research from Harvard Graduate School of Education has found that there are multiple benefits to hearing feedback from all stakeholders. This includes administration, teachers, and students, but also community members, parents, and families. Hearing from those with different backgrounds and cultures will not only ensure the accuracy of our program, but it means that our students are gaining understanding from unique voices. The final decision maker for all course content would be a small team made up of a district-level curriculum and instruction specialist with content area teachers. After they have approved coursework, pilot groups will integrate aspects of the curriculum into their classroom. Then, feedback from both students and teachers will be received in order to ensure the ease and accessibility of the program. Education is the foundation of our democracy. And to ensure this principle, education must be accessible for all students. A recent survey conducted by Microsoft found that 84% of teachers say it's impossible to achieve equity in the classroom without accessible learning tools. An example of this would be implementing assistive technology for students with disabilities. Additionally, curating classroom work for students with diverse learning styles so they can have a growth mindset when it comes to their learning. However, education cannot be fully accessible until we take strides to improve the inequality in school funding across low-poverty districts. Students from MIT have proposed several financial systems to state legislators, ranging from concentrated poverty quintiles to per-student general formula assistance programs. Educational equality starts with financial equity, so our teachers and students can have the resources to thrive in their schools. Education is important, but ensuring that the information is robust, accurate, and accessible is necessary for our students. With my proposed curriculum, I feel students will be supported in the best way possible, but we need to see schools take action now. For an education that not only teaches them their classwork, but prepares them for the future. Thank you.
Amazing. Everybody, round of a hand. Round of applause. Thank you. And on to the
Thank you,
next.
Lana. I'd like to just add my congratulations to Addison from the Auburn branch and for the other winners of the competition this year. Thank you for being part of AAUW's efforts. Now we're going to move on to our next classroom, which is team taught by 3 colleagues. Sigrid is going to start off our introductions here. She's the director for branch development. So Sigrid, can you join us?
Thank you, Sandy. Welcome, students, to the Branch Development Committee classroom. Today we have a team teaching event. First, you will hear from team teacher Sharon Siebert on branch support and Leader on Loan program. Then teacher Marcia Swales on membership and the College and University Partner program. And then finally, from me on the leadership development programs. Let's hear from Sharon. Thank you.
Hello, all of you. I'm happy to be the branch support teacher on this team. I've often been the first contact branches and their leaders have with the state leadership team, whether through a query to ask us first or in another way. For those of you who have not checked it out, our updated and easily navigated branch tools section of the AAUW California website, please do so. Our outstanding webmaster, our very own state president, Sandy Gabe, and I, along with the web team, spent quality time streamlining that section. It's now much more attractive and fully updated, making it easier to find your answers. The search application has been substantially upgraded also to include keywords that branch leaders especially are used to using. That's where the little search engine coverage is, where there's a little magnifying glass. So with regard to all the rest of what I have done this year, significant numbers of both branch leaders and even members have contacted branch support, and more than 20 branches have been helped with ideas to become more vibrant. Sadly, some of our branches did need to disband, but we helped them to find nearby branches into which they could successfully merge without losing members, nor the funds for their programs such as Tech Trek. With regard to the other situation, the disbandment process, we standardized and documented it with consultation with National. And the AAUW office has developed an archive of all the relevant documentation from each of the branches that have had to disband, so they have a place to live forever. State leaders participated in at least 15 branch events or IBC events, whether in person or via Zoom. Participation by leaders has become even easier because we have revived the Leader on Loan program that now has a much easier procedure to request leaders. The forms are online under the Leader on Loan segment under the branch tools part of our state website. So now I'm going to turn it over to my team member who is an expert in membership. That is Marcia Swales. Take it away, Marcia.
We have 3 important completed group projects from our membership class this year. First, we successfully launched the new membership toolkit in October, providing branch leaders with links to state and national AAUW. Besides guiding leaders on how to use the hub on the National's website, ideas are provided to assist with recruiting and retaining members. With the help of our web team administrators, the Join Us link on the state website, the Join Us link on our state website has a totally new and useful function. The second project was a survey to non-renewed members. It was created and sent to all those who had not renewed their membership for last year. The responses provided insight on ways to improve branch culture. The results were presented and discussed last fall at a peer group meeting. Third, most exciting part of our membership group projects, I recruited Susan Bongasser, a retired college professor from the Redlands branch, to serve as the new college and university liaison. Susan recently sent a survey to branch leaders to assess the involvement of our branches with CU across the state. A new CU peer group will hold its first meeting on May 9th, where the results of the survey will be discussed. From that meeting, we look forward to more branches participating and growing this important function. And so now our third team teacher, Sigrid Morantz, will share the successes of her leadership development class.
Thank you, Marcia. Um, Leadership development has been busy this year, working with branch support and communications to update and revise our materials. You can find all the leadership development materials on the easy to access Branch Tools website. Later in today's program, we're going to hear from Jen Krebsbach more about the Branch Activity of the Year winners. We had 21 wonderful entries with a wide variety of programs to choose from.
I seem to have lost Sigrid. Julika, can you pop on for a moment? Do you see Sigrid? All right, so I think she got up just to the Branch Activity of the Year award, so I'll continue on her last bullet until she can join us. So the team worked with an outside consultant who's very well known and to create a 3-part series called Touching the Hearts of Our Volunteers. And 2 of the sessions have already occurred. Those topics included enlightening leaders to volunteer first, cultural shift, and to provide tools to more effectively deal with membership decline, engagement disinterest, and leadership voids. And there will be a 3rd session coming up in May. So take a look for that. You'll get an announcement email. So thank you to Sigrid and the rest of the team for this amazing work that the Branch Development Committee did.
Thank you, Sandy. Sorry I had to step out for a fire drill, but I'm back.
Okay.
This is what team teaching is about. But thank you all for joining us.
All righty. So now, can I have your attention, please? All right. You didn't think you were going to get away without some quiz work, did you? Oh my goodness, my little bell won't turn off. All righty. So it's time for our first pop quiz. I hope you've been paying attention and not falling asleep in class. So here we go. I'm going to launch a poll and it's going to have 3 questions on it, but I want you to keep track of your answers. All right, here we go. So the first question is, in what year did AAUW admit men? Your choices are 1954, 1946, 1987, or 1995. All right, get your pens out, write it down. What do you think it was? Did you get it right? It was C, 1987. All right, our second question, question 2 of 3. AAUW California's mission states that AAUW California facilitates branches in meeting the vision and mission of AAUW by providing what? Remember, this was our first slide, so I hope you weren't asleep already. The first choice is programs, education, and resources. The second choice is funding, guidance, and oversight. The third choice is training, resources, and leadership. And the fourth choice is technology, communications, and governance. They all have some similar characteristics to them. Which one could it be? All right, make your choice because I'm going to reveal the answer. It is A, programs, education, and resources. And now for your third question. This is the last question. I hope you got your first 2 right. This is an easy one too. What was the total amount of money that California members donated to AAUW Fund? Was it $612,230? Or was it $490,500? Or perhaps it was $534,425? Or was it $339,900? Okay, think back to that, like right after Megan was on and Karen came up. This was her last slide and it went round in circles. So do you remember that it was C, $534,245. So I hope you got your answers right. I hope you got the questions right, and take note of how many of the 3 you got correct, because there's another quiz later and we're going to use that information. All right, so now it's time for public policy. Let's head down to the public policy wing where we'll meet Amy Hom and Missy Maseko, and you'll recognize them if you took our Lobby Days course earlier this year. So I'm going to turn it over to, I believe it's Amy.
Missy is first.
Oh, Missy's first. Sorry, Missy's first. Thanks, Missy.
Thank you, Principal Gabe. Welcome everyone to your public policy classroom. As the principal said, there will be another quiz, so be sure to take notes. So good policy is based on history. So what we're going to talk about today is what we've been up to in the short-term history in the last year. So first, AAUW California so thinking about last year's legislative agenda, and by the way, this first bit is also about math, so take extra notes. So in 2023, our scorecard was pretty impressive. Out of 22 supported bills that made it to the governor's desk, 19 of our bills were signed into law. That made our success rate, do the math, 86.3%. And this year in 2024, no math, so you're okay. In 2024, we finally had the opportunity to author a bill, which is very exciting. The bill that we are authoring this year, AB 2843, seeks to eliminate cost sharing for rape survivors who seek medical care following their assault. So this bill, the inspiration for the bill came from Kathy Harper, our former chair of public policy, our in-house program and policy mastermind, and our current public policy committee member. She saw an op-ed in the LA Times and motivated us to act to create legislation that would solve an ongoing problem. So we thank Kathy for that. Our second, history, like current history, our second historical event this year is public policy news. So this year we developed and launched a colorful monthly newsletter that is sent to all branch presidents, public policy chairs, and newsletter editors. Public policy news provides all of you with information about and links to public policy events, newsletter stories that you might want to put in your local newsletters, activities, and opportunities for activism and engagement. So to finish up the history lesson, I will now turn it over to my co-instructor today, the wonderful Amy Hom.
Thank you, Professor Missy. So the third thing that our committee has been busy with over the last year is the school board project under the leadership of the wonderful Kathy Harper. You all here in our classroom are excellent students, and we know that you care about protecting our public schools from regressive actions that are harmful to students, which is what the school board project is all about. Our school board project has been gaining traction elsewhere, and AAUW and other states are trying to emulate what we're doing. Here in California, the Danville, Alamo, Walnut Creek branch has been doing some really outstanding work. They've been attending school board meetings in force in their AAUW t-shirts on a regular basis. And they have built a coalition in their area of more than a half dozen organizations who are championing honest, equitable public education for all students. The goal of the coalition is to be well organized to support school board candidates by the time they declare for November elections. We want to model what Danville, Alamo, Walnut Creek has done at other branches. So if you are interested in taking similar actions, please do reach out to us. And your assignment here for this class is to attend a school board meeting, complete the checklist, which you can find on our website, and send it to your branch liaison. And then finally, later this morning, we invite you to join the elective that we're going to be offering on the school board project. The last thing that we will tell you about is our website facelift. Thanks to Principal Sandy Gabe, who is also our brilliant president and webmaster, we were able to give our public policy website a facelift earlier this year. The new site is much more engaging and easy to navigate, and it's beautiful. So we're always posting new material and resources there, and we hope that you will explore it and check it out.
Thank you, Amy and Missy. Your class has done some amazing work, and I can't wait to see your extracurricular activity this afternoon. All right, it's time for us to head down the hall to the GovTrek perspective, and we'll hear from Shauna Rule, and I think she's got a video of her own to dazzle you with today. Shauna, are you ready to join us?
I'm ready, Principal Gabe.
All right.
Well, thank you and good morning. Welcome to the GovTrek classroom, where we are paving the way for a more diverse, equitable, and inclusive government. I'm Shauna Rule, GovTrek Program Director, and it is such an honor to share with you today a high-level summary of our second annual virtual GovTrek program. We are excited and inspired by our future leaders' ambition to make their mark in the world of politics. So let's get started. We had a phenomenal interest by future leaders from across California, representing 49 California high schools, 34 AAUW California branches, with 73 students who ended up registering, 61 with parent permission, and 42 who started the program, with a final graduation of 37 students. I'd like to give a huge thank you to our many adult women advocates for gender equity who join forces to champion the rise of our future female political leaders and generously sharing their time and their know-how. We could not have done this without you ladies. We had 8 branch members, we had 3 judges, we had 11 legislators from across California representing the local, the county, the state, and the national level. And our lovely 11 facilitators who mentored our student campaign teams. Student participants spent 7 Saturdays in the program, exploring careers in public service and elected office. They interacted with the legislators that I mentioned earlier, who joined them on Zoom to discuss their career paths, their career journeys, and their current roles in government. And finally, the students learned the art of political campaigning through a mock team-based campaign competition. Our measurement tool is a pre and post program assessment. We looked at data from girls who completed the program and compared their initial survey response to their post-program response, and asked them to rate the following question on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being the most. How would you rate your understanding of, how would you rate your understanding of possible careers in public service or elected office? Pre-program, girls rated themselves 4 or 5 out of 5, 27% of them did so. Post-program, 93%. We are excited about this statistic and just encouraged to continue to develop the next generation of leaders. A quick look at our top branch recruitment strategies before we show you the grand prize winning team video, campaign video. As you can see, 65% of our participants came from a referral from a teacher or a school. So this just emphasizes how important our relationships are with your local schools and your local administrators. So thank you for getting the word out, and please continue to build those important relationships. 13% of participants came from AAUW, so that may have been through our social media or perhaps through a friend of a member or a referral from the branch or the branch promoting it locally. We also created a GovTrek flyer, so 11% of our participants came from the flyer, and the additional 11% came from everything else, every other communications channel. So keep this in mind for next year. So from all of us at AAUW California, we are thrilled to introduce winners of the 2024 GovTrek program and campaign competition. The video we're about to show you comes from Team Eliana. Welcome, Team Eliana.
We have one planet left, and it is our goal to green our way to success. Residents of San Ramon and fellow citizens, my name is Eliana Horn, and I'm running for council representative for District 1 in San Ramon. I stand before you not just as a candidate, but as a proud member of this community. My journey began right here in San Ramon, where I was raised in a family that taught me the values of hard work, integrity, and service to others. Growing up in San Ramon has shaped me into the person I am today, and this has instilled a deep understanding of the unique needs and challenges faced by our community today with climate conservation and sustainability. As a first-generation Asian American, it has given me a unique perspective which was rooted in deep tradition and care for my land. From a young age, I found solace in a connection to tending to my immigrant grandparents' garden. Witnessing the dedication my grandparents have poured into cultivating their garden has sparked my own concerns for sustainability and community well-being. These experiences have cultivated my numerous sustainable businesses that have directly helped the community. My goal is to create a more environmentally sustainable San Ramon, whilst also promoting our minority and small businesses. Our beautiful and clean parks, land, and space of San Ramon all contribute to the well-being of our citizens and climate. Our small steps for the next generation can lead to a big impact on the future of sustainability. All of our citizens deserve to have a happy, healthy, and livable San Ramon now and for future generations. The problems facing our community today are a production of greenhouse gas emissions, environmentally degrading energy usage through vehicles and buildings, and lack of support of small businesses. Firstly, I will plan to expand programs such as the San Ramon's Climate Action Task Force to Generation Z and to all of our members of our community. I'm fully committed to implementing and expanding initiatives to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions by 15% or lower by 2039 through mitigation measures by California Environmental Quality Act. Second, I will plan to enable solar energy through solar panels in our public spaces such as libraries, city center, and our local schools. I will also implement an increase of electric buses, autonomous vehicles, streetlights, and increase electric chargers to promote cleaner energy alternative to regular degrading gasoline vehicles. This will ensure residents will always be provided a sustainable option to energy transportation, which will dramatically reduce our greenhouse gas emissions for the future generations. These popular public places and vehicles will be able to significantly reduce their carbon footprint through these accessible, sustainable measures. Lastly, I will create a San Ramon Small Business Initiative, which will provide public sources to promote your business, as well as providing tax incentives on small businesses who practice environmentally sustainable measures. These measures can vary from utilizing biodegradable products, utilizing solar panel energy, and reducing the amount of insufficient waste. As a small AAPI business owner myself, I'm able to support all the members of our community to green our way to success with the needed support, resources, and a guiding hand. Through the San Ramon Climate Action Task Force and the San Ramon Small Business Initiatives, we can further collaborate for resources in our community to involve with reducing our carbon footprint, waste, and collaboration for future improvements. Everyone takes an active step in saving our Earth, whether it's from choosing the greener option or advocating for sustainability. Together, we can play a role in reducing our carbon emissions, energy consumption, and reducing the impacts of climate change through our active measures. Through my community involvement and Asian American perspective, I am committed to serving the people of San Ramon for a greener future. I promise to be a strong voice for every member of our community, regardless of their background. And I will work tirelessly to ensure everyone has access to all our numerous programs and resources for them to thrive. San Ramon is a city with limitless potential and growth, which I'm able to lead and cultivate for the future. As former President Barack Obama stated, we are the first generation to feel the effect of climate change and the last generation who can do something about it. Vote Eliana Horn, the one for District 1.
This is our voter outreach plan. Beginning with our voter.
Thank you, Shauna. And thank you to the team. I think that the GovTrek candidates for this year could be school board candidates in the future. They could be board members in the future. So we look forward to watching them as they continue on in their journey. At this point, I think it is time to head over to communications. And I will bet that Dawn has her red pen and her thesaurus sitting on her desk, and she is ready to take us on a journey of communications work for this year. Dawn, are you in the room?
I sure am. And I want everyone in this classroom as quickly as possible. Get your notebooks out, get settled, especially you in the back row, because I am watching you. And there's a lot for you to take notes on today, so be ready. All right, what have we gotten done for you this year in the communications classroom? What were our assignments that we completed? And I want to mention that all of these were done with the help of our amazing communications committee members, and particularly my team teacher, Sandy Gabe. So what have we done? Well, one thing we did for right off the bat is we redesigned multiple sections of the website. They are absolutely amazing. We redesigned finance, public policy, branch tools, communications, and especially the Join Us page, which was mentioned earlier, that has this super nifty little tool on it where a potential member can enter their zip code and it'll pop up the branch that they can join. This was quite an improvement. We also worked on making all of the website sections much more user-friendly and very much focused on making it easier to find things on our website. So we added tables that you could sort by topic and so on, and we added keywords to all of the resources that you could use when you enter a general search term. So what else did we do? Well, one of the things we really worked on is to refocus our social media and make it more of a marketing tool. This was a key recommendation from a marketing consulting company that we worked with extensively over the last 2 years. They said, hey, don't just use other people's content on your social media, write your own. Create your own brand. So we did that. So we wrote over 10 campaigns that we designed ourselves. These were like to promote our own programs like GovTrek, and also to add things like stories from our members, which are member quotes about their AAUW experiences, which are examples of storytelling, which is the strongest marketing campaign that you can have. We campaigned for open membership, our advocacy for approval of the bylaws amendment. We wrote really cute ads, social media posts to honor branch anniversaries and so on. So all of this content we created ourselves, and that has resulted in a significant increase in the number of fans and followers that we had on our social media sites. Another thing that we did was to really work on improving general communication channels. One of them, for example, is that we implemented a new database for keeping track of all of the branch leaders to find them easily and to reliably send them targeted emails based on what position they hold in the branch. This was a super geeky activity, involved a lot of time. Half of us didn't understand it, but it was very critical to the operation of our organization. So that was a big accomplishment. And also we worked on supporting other committees work to optimize their communications. So I think you've heard a little bit about the peer groups. So the peer groups are meetings, regular meetings of all the people that do the same work in the branch. So all the membership people get together to talk about membership stuff, and all the finance people get together to talk about finance stuff. And that's really great, but it takes a lot of work on the back end to support that. So we did all of that by posting all of the recordings of their meetings, by sending out all of their meeting reminders. And that was for 9 committees, 3 programs that wanted to every month talk about what they were doing. And we made sure that all those communications went out. We also tried to remember that communications is two-way. So we fostered some feedback from you, our members, with features in our newsletter, the California Connection, that hopefully you're getting. And we asked you to give us your feedback. Tell us your aha moments in AAUW, or tell us why you decided to become a leader. And then we used some of those in our social media campaigns, but it was a chance for you to talk back with us a little bit. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, Sarah, is that you in the back row? I see that. I saw that you passed a note. I saw the note that you passed. So I'm going to have to take that note from you. I'm going to have to read it in front of the whole class. It says, I hope this communications stuff is almost over. Yeah, okay, Sarah. Okay, we just have one more slide to talk about here. So what's the other big thing that we accomplished? We launched 2 marketing campaigns with Dowager Designs, a marketing consulting company that we worked with, and we've been working on these for the last 2 years. The first one is that we implemented a paid ad campaign with LinkedIn. So we decided to target educators, and we paid for ads that would target them, and then we sent them on an educator's journey. And that meant that if they clicked on that ad, they went to a brand new page on our website that was just designed for educators with relevant topics to them. And it also gave them an opportunity to click a little button that said, I want to learn more about AAUW, in which case we would send them a staggered series of 3 emails telling them more, again, about our specific programs of interest to educators. And then the second marketing campaign that we launched was that, working with Dowager, we were able to secure a grant of up to $10,000 a month in free Google ads. And we had designed those ads and peppered Google with ads for AAUW. And those cast a much wider net than the LinkedIn campaigns, which were specifically for educators. So all of this resulted in a lot of hits on our website and a lot of ad clicks. And we are hoping that those converted to new members. Unfortunately, we cannot tell you for sure, because they have to join through National, and National can't really keep track of whether you came from LinkedIn or whether you came from Google or where you came from. So they don't know that, but we have a leap of faith that we know that this work ended up in more members for your branches. So I just want to mention that your homework assignment for tonight is to write a 1,500-word essay on Costco sheet cakes. And with that, class is dismissed.
Thank you, Dawn. My goodness, you guys have been busy. The school newspaper, the California Connection, has been quite a hit this year. We frequently get messages in the office about how interesting it is and what a great sense of humor you have. So thank you for that. And it's time now to head over to administration. All right, Diane, are you ready? We're going to talk about governance. So welcome to the principal's office.
Hi. Thank you, Sandy. Appreciate it. And welcome to everybody that's coming to the last class of bylaws this year. Aren't you excited about that? So I first want to thank everyone who joined us in our class on bylaws this year. You worked really hard, you were diligent, you asked good questions, and you did your work. And we really, really appreciate that. I appreciate that very, very much. So what I want to do today is just kind of talk about what we learned this year and what is going to happen next year. So what we learned this year is that we had to mandate our AUW national bylaws. And this is because we voted in May of 2023 to approve some new bylaws for national. So we had to update our branch bylaws, actually, to include the first 7 articles that apply to national. So that's just a cut and paste, and we had to put our branch name in twice, but it was pretty easy to do. And only our branch board had to approve those. So some of those have been coming in already. Your assignments have been coming in, and I really appreciate that. And then those branches that wanted to update their branch bylaws, because let's face it, some of us haven't updated them since 2016, 2017. So some of them need to be updated a little bit. So the branches that wanted to do that have to have membership approval. So they have to wait until their annual meeting, or at least a meeting of their branch, so that they can approve those. So we learned that. We also learned the difference between affiliate and branch. It's kind of like tomato, tomato. It's the same thing. So AUW refers to the branches as affiliates, and as branches, we refer to our branch as a branch. So same thing. So we did learn that, and we learned that well. The grades won't be out until June 30th, 2024, and then you will know whether you pass the course or not. And next year, there were some people that didn't get the memos this year, and so we'll be knocking on your door next year. I'm moving on to another assignment, but my replacement is going to be great. So she will be knocking on your door. So you are in good hands. So thank you for all your work, and have a great summer. Bye.
Great. Thanks, Diane. So branches and affiliates are the same, but branches are not chapters. That's one thing we keep hearing. So thanks for that. I think we're going to head down the hall right now and see if we can find Charmin. And Charmin, are you around? Can you join us?
Welcome.
So Charmin is your incoming president, and she has functioned this year in a variety of capacities, but she's going to talk with you about DEI at this point.
Welcome, class. Thank you for joining us today. Because we feel that diversity, equity, and inclusion are so vital to the health and future of our branches, I decided to step back from the type of activities that committees have engaged in the past. I knew that we needed a strategic plan to help the state board and our branches get comfortable with embedding DEI in all that we do. So I enlisted two advisors to help me, Latha Murtia and Carmen Hobbs, both who have lived experiences very different from my own. And we worked with our branch DEI coordinators around the idea of cultural humility as a starting place. And just for a definition, cultural humility is a personal lifelong commitment to self-evaluation and self-critique, where the individual not only learns about another's culture, but also one starts with an examination of their own beliefs and cultural identities. And we feel like by examining our own implicit biases and assumptions, learning how systems discriminate and working to disrupt those will not only make our branches more inclusive and welcoming, but also our whole community. So we had the coordinators helped us collect some data by doing an environmental scan of their branches. We looked at our current situation and where we wanted to go. We used the data to create a strategic plan that asked the questions: what would an inclusive and diverse branch look and feel like? How would it function? And knowing that younger generations tend to have less bias and bring in more diversity, how can we attract them? The strategic plan is currently in the editing process with our communications team and will soon be shared with all of you. So that was our main homework assignment for the year, but we did take on an extra credit assignment. After learning about Berkeley President Karen Weinstein's efforts to have Mary Church Terrell listed on the AUW national website as a trailblazer due to her role in integrating AUW, we worked with Karen, the Berkeley and Oakland branches to create a statewide webinar with the author, Allison Parker, who shared Mary's journey and a part of AUW history that most of us were completely unaware of. It was well attended, and I've heard also that the webinar has been viewed by several branches in other states as well. A big thanks again to the Berkeley and Oakland branches for bringing Mary Church Terrell to all of our attention. It's been a busy yet productive year, and we look forward to delving into the strategic plan with you in just a few weeks. Thank you. Class dismissed.
Thank you, Charmin. All right, I think it's time for our next quiz. All right, So I'm not even going to try to launch the poll this time. We're going to do it the same old-fashioned way that we did before, where we write it on the board. So I hope that you remember how many questions you got right from your first quiz. And now let's try our second quiz. And this quiz also has 3 questions. And your first question, I hope you were paying attention to public policy. AAUW authored a bill in the California legislature. If signed into law, what would AB 2843 do? Would it establish a minimum wage of $17 an hour for daycare providers? Or would it eliminate the cost sharing for rape survivors who seek medical care? Might it mandate that colleges and universities have counselors trained to handle sexual assault complaints? Or requires the chancellors of the community colleges, state universities, and president of the University of California to provide an annual report of their compliance with Title IX. All right, 4 choices there. Minimum wage, remove cost sharing, mandate counselors, or require the chancellors to do an annual report of their Title IX compliance. Are you ready? And the answer is B, to eliminate the cost sharing for rape survivors who seek medical care. All right, let's pop on to question 2. This question, now this is kind of one of those tricky questions, you know, the ones that's on the test that you swear was not in your curriculum. You might be right. How many feet must you continuously signal before making a left turn? All right, signaling is not necessary if there are no cars behind you or approaching you. 50 feet, 75 feet, or 100 feet. Okay, now think back to the last driver's test that you took and think about what was that length. Are you ready? Here we go. It's D, 100 feet. Don't be nosing up too close to the car in front of you. All right, and our third question is, how many girls applied for GovTrek? And you have 4 choices: 52, 95, 102, or 73. I'm pretty sure that was on Shauna's slide. Were you paying attention? All right, here we go. I'm going to reveal the answer. The answer is D, 73. All right, now I want you to calculate up how many of the 3 questions you got right this time, and I want you to add it to the number of questions that you got right last time, and that should give you a number between 0 and 6. This is higher level math, I know. So let's talk about how you did. So if you got 1 to 2 correct, you probably have some other hidden talents. We could probably still use you on a committee. If you have 3 to 4 correct, we do think you're smart enough to join the state committee next year. And our signups begin on May 1st, so watch for that coming out. If you got 5 or 6 correct, we're going to sign you up to be the next AAUW California president. So you better start practicing to use your gavel because you're going to need it. All right, let's move on now to our Star Pupil Awards. And our Star Pupil Awards are our way of recognizing people who have made significant contributions or branches who have made significant contributions to the mission of AAUW. And we're going to start first with our Equity Champion. And so welcome back, Missy. And let's take us on this journey to hear about our Equity Champion for this year.
Thank you, Principal Gabe. So the Equity Champion Award is extended to one public servant each year who's been particularly instrumental in bettering the lives of women and girls and advancing more expansive gender equity in California. Our Equity Champion for this year is Supervisor Holly Mitchell. Supervisor Holly Mitchell has spent her professional career advocating for women, children, and our most vulnerable communities. She is a third-generation Angelino and has served as an advocate for organizations, including the Western Center on Law and Poverty. She served as staff in the legislature, and she successfully ran to serve in the Assembly and then moved to the State Senate, ultimately serving as the chair of the Budget Committee. In 2020, she won a seat on the Los Angeles Board of Supervisors and serves on an all-woman governing body. Supervisor Mitchell represents 2 million residents in a district that includes the cities of Carson, Compton, Culver City, El Segundo, Gardena, Hawthorne, Hermosa Beach, Inglewood, Los Angeles, Manhattan Beach, and Redondo Beach. She led the establishment of Breathe LA, a pilot project that provides a monthly stipend for 3 years to 1,000 low and very low income individuals, including 200 former foster youth. And I think, for this organization, most importantly, she's focused on women's rights, expanded access to healthcare, early child care, and education, while reinvesting in services designed to support the elderly, unhoused, and families living in poverty. So her emphasis on equity and justice has made Supervisor Mitchell an icon and a hero. So Supervisor Mitchell could not be with us today, but she has sent along a message for all of us. Join me in congratulating our star pupil, Supervisor Holly Mitchell.
Good morning, American Association of University of Women, California chapter. I'm Holly Mitchell, LA County Supervisor for the 2nd District. And thank you for your invitation to speak today at your annual meeting and for selecting me as a recipient of the notable Equity Champion Award. This award is so meaningful to me, given your work to develop and improve policies that help those who struggle daily to make ends meet. Your critical efforts have improved the lives of women and girls by making affordable quality childcare, health care, and higher education more accessible. Thank you to your 9,500 women throughout California membership for pushing daily for social and racial justice for women and girls throughout our wonderful state, and for all the people who have suffered the indignities of discrimination. Getting students to college is one thing. Keeping them safe on our campuses is another, and I applaud your efforts this year to address the astounding lack of compliance with Title IX requirements, which are needed to protect our students and provide justice for victims of harassment and sexual assault. I appreciate you and your continuing this important fight. So thank you for this honor, and I thank you for your unwavering commitment to advance equity for those impacted by deep-rooted bias and injustice. Thank you again.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I'm glad that we were at least able to get a video of her to join us this morning. So we're going to move on now to our state-named gift honoree. And Karen, did you want to do the honors, or did you want me to run through these?
I would love to do this. This is the best thing that a fund director ever gets to do. So we've got a few things about this person. The AAUW California, this person did AAUW California experience at the local, regional, and state levels. Just sit in your seats, but raise your hand when you guess who the named gift is. And you can jump up and yell and shout if you decide it's you. This person has community activities statewide. She has been involved in branch and state activities since she joined. She's willingly served on committees and quietly and efficiently completes tasks while maintaining a sense of humor. She's been a member of the La Mesa El Cajon branch, president, treasurer, and program chair. She's been a past president and co-president of the San Diego branch. Getting close? She's been on the San Diego Interbranch Council Liaison. She's been the California Convention Chair in 2014. Haha, I see people guessing. She's been 6 years on the state board of AAUW California as co-president, program chair, and state oversight committee. People are coming in. She's been on the state nominating committee for 2021 and 2023. I see more hands coming. I see more. All right, let's do it. Yes, our very own Jane Niemeyer. Congratulations, Jane. We're so happy to have you as this year's state named gift honoree. You will receive a plaque that you can have for your office, and we'll probably present that at an upcoming lunch down in San Diego. Congratulations, Jane.
Karen, thank you very much, and thanks to the Fund Committee for making this important decision. All right, we have more awardees coming up. Our next group of awardees are the Branch Activity of the Year Awards. And so if Jen can join me.
Okay. Good morning. I'm Jen Krebsbach, and I'm the chair of the Branch Activity of the Year Awards Committee. This year, I had the pleasure of working with Sigrid in the planning stage, and the two of us worked with Carol to review the applications for the 2023-2024 Bay Awards. The Bay Awards Committee reviews applications for several criteria. We ask ourselves, is this something we haven't seen before? Will this be something other branches will want to do? Is this something other branches can do? Does this promote AAUW National's mission and image? Does it incorporate elements of diversity, equity, and inclusion? This year, we had 20 applications from 16 different branches all across California. I first want to thank all for participating in this year's Bay Award cycle. We had a tough time deciding which 3 applications to choose from. I would now like to introduce the first of 3 applicants up for an award today. Please welcome Jean from the Petaluma branch.
Hi, I'm Jean Reed, the Co-Vice President of Program for AAUW Petaluma. I'm here to talk about the community event we hosted on gun violence prevention. Slide 2. Sadly, I don't even remember which tragedy was in the news when the program committee met last summer, but we felt we needed to include a program addressing gun violence. Too many times we hear that nothing can be done, and that's just not acceptable or true. AAUW public policy priorities state that AAUW recognizes gun violence as a public health and safety crisis. We decided that we would share with the community actions that we can take to reduce gun violence. Slide 3. Normalizing violence, gun safety prevention took place in January. Over 200 people came to the Petaluma Community Center. Entering the room, slides with gun violence data, like what you've just seen, were on the screen. Our speakers included 2 of our legislators, a doctor, police, school administrators, and 2 local activists, a student and a mom. After they talked, attendees were encouraged to meet with the speakers and a dozen local organizations who had set up tables around the room. Slide 4. Speakers placed a strong focus on safe storage. Proper storage of guns makes them less accessible to persons who are suicidal or who are angry and impulsive, and prevents accidents and theft. Petaluma and Healdsburg both have safe storage ordinances. We focused on expanding this common sense gun safety measure throughout Sonoma County. By working together with our sister branches in Santa Rosa and Healdsburg, we had a wider audience, additional resources, and volunteers. To make the event widely accessible, we provided ASL translation and childcare. Printed materials were available in both English and Spanish. Slide 5. A 3-member planning team met about 13 times over 7 months. The cost for the program was about $1,000, with the major cost being the rental of the community center. The event was widely publicized on community calendars, including those of the tabling organizations and schools, and via social media. We were interviewed by the newspaper and were guests on a local radio talk show. Email announcements and reminders went out, and flyers were posted around town. Slide 6. As noted, we were pleased with the turnout of some 200 people on the day, as it turned out, of a major 49ers playoff game. Reporters from the Press Democrat and KPIX News attended and ran reports that evening and the next day. High school newspapers covered the event. We followed up with letters to the editor. Members are currently attending local school board meetings to encourage notification of parents about the importance of safe gun storage. We've also provided resources to groups for postcard writing campaigns. Slide 7. Through this event, AAUW brought a message of hope through activism. It also served to make AAUW much more visible in our communities. AAUW Petaluma would like to see other branches take this simple model and share the gun safety message with their communities. Common sense actions on an individual and local level can begin to reduce the toll taken by gun violence. Even the act of talking about guns, asking friends and neighbors if their guns are secured at home, can make a difference. You can do it wherever you are, and we must. Thank you.
Thank you, Jean. Next, we will hear from another applicant up for an award today. Please welcome Lisa from the Napa County branch.
Early in 2023, Tech Trek branch coordinators received an enthusiastic email asking how we were planning to celebrate the 25th anniversary of Tech Trek. I froze. I had no idea. I was not even sure if my branch participated that first year. Next slide. This got me wondering, did we participate that first year? If we did, wouldn't it be a great idea to have our first Trekker as our guest speaker for the Tech Trek celebration we have in September to honor our most recent Trekkers? Next slide. If we did participate, who was our girl? I had no records of any of this, so I started an elaborate sleuth, ultimately leading me to a phone number that I cold called. A man answered. I explained who I was and that I was from AAUW and that I was looking for a girl who 25 years ago participated in a program called Tech Trek. Next slide. He immediately exclaimed, "Tech Trek?" And I knew I had found our girl, well, her father anyway. With a few more phone calls, it was all arranged. Elise would fly out from her home in Atlanta, Georgia, to be our guest speaker in September. She insisted. She was so excited, plus she was going to bring her father to the event. Next slide, please. The event was fantastic. Elise spoke from the heart and told stories of her time at camp, like the feelings of being away from home and meeting the other girls who were just like her. She learned so much and gained great confidence in herself. This was quite familiar to all of our current campers who had just been to Tech Trek that summer. They could really relate to this accomplished woman. She was one of them. Elise went on to explain that while at university, she discovered a passion for television production. After working for Paramount for several years, she now owns her own television production company in Atlanta, Georgia. She commented how much going to Tech Trek had changed the course of her life, her confidence, her awakening passions, and her knowing she could be who she wanted to be. She attributes in great part to her Tech Trek experience. Next slide. When she finished speaking and before our campers came up to share their camp experiences, I invited Mary, a branch member, up to speak. Mary explained that we almost did not send someone to Tech Trek that first year. Apparently, when the program was announced by AAUW California, our branch had already set their budget. Money to send a camper was not available. The women who were at the meeting discussing this all agreed that it sounded like a wonderful program, but perhaps they would be better off waiting a year. Mary had another idea. She grabbed her purse, took out a $20 bill, placed it on the table, and challenged the other women to do the same. In short order, they had the money to send Elise to camp. As Mary told her story, Elise had tears streaming down her face. She was so moved. Next slide, please. Elise, this accomplished, kind, and generous young woman, clearly inspired our campers, as was expected, but she also inspired us all so much more. One must wonder how Elise's life might have been different if the dedicated women who created the Tech Trek program over 26 years ago and the branch members who had the foresight to literally make it happen for this first trekker from Napa County had not done that work. I am not sure how this event can be replicated by other branches, but I do recommend to look for those wonder moments and to keep sleuthing to see what comes of it. You might be equally thrilled with the results. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Last, we will hear from one more applicant up for an award. Please welcome Vicki from the La Mesa El Cajon branch.
Yes, the La Mesa El Cajon branch of AAUW sponsored the Honorable Rebecca G. Church as the featured speaker at our November 11th, 2023 meeting. She is a judge for the San Diego County Superior Court in California, appointed to the bench by Governor Newsom in December 2022. And prior to her appointment, she was an assistant U.S. attorney for the Southern District of California. Next slide. Judge Church presented us with a basic judicial system 101 and addressed the question, is the justice system fair and unbiased? She gave information about how the court system is designed and works with our community and state. It was an open forum, so the audience could ask questions pertaining to information that as it was presented. In addition, there was time allotted at the end for additional questions. One audience response was, "This is the first time I have really understood the judicial system." Next slide. The San Diego Superior Court's community outreach and education program serves students, teachers, parents, and community members by increasing their knowledge of the California justice system. Careers in law, consequences of breaking the law, importance of serving on a jury, and how to access court service. Annually, more than 11,000 elementary through college-age students from 140 schools participate in their outreach programs. Some of these programs that Judge Church listed are courthouse tours, San Diego County High School mock trial competition, judges in the classroom, and youth in court day. Next slide, please. She listed the different types of courts, and we learned information about types of cases: criminal, civil, probate, family law, juvenile court. And all of this background information provided an overview for us to take away a better standing of how the system functions. Next slide. Next, we have some judicial demographic information that was presented. Since 1985, women have made up 40% of law students, and since 2016, women have outnumbered men in law schools. Currently, women represent 55% of law students, 40% of lawyers. One audience question was, how do you balance work and family? Judge Church's response was that Superior Court does help support parents by providing leave time and flexibility in their work scheduling. Next slide. Another question asked by the audience was, how many people of color are working in the San Diego Superior Courts? Judge Church's response was that the ratio was not up to par, and unfortunately, she did not have any statistics to share. But she did share this judicial gender demographic that showed from 2007 to 2023, the percentages of women in trial courtrooms has risen. For the question, is the justice system fair and unbiased? Judge Church stated that the unbiased facts, information, and statistics she presented left the question open to one's own judgment. Definitely more information needs to be collected to provide answers to this difficult question. Next slide. This program matched the National Strategic Plan goal, protect and expand compliance with Title IX and other civil rights laws across all U.S. states and territories. Publicity included Facebook, Instagram, website, printed press, and the branch newsletter. Attendance was between 50 to 60 AAUW members and community guests. We chose the theme of law and order, and decorations enhanced the mood. Members were asked to bring a favorite mug for mug shots. We also issued citations for various meeting no-nos, such as not wearing branch colors or theme costume, arriving late, etc. Pictured are some of our meeting participants happily sharing their mugs. It was a great program. Thank you.
Thanks, Vicki. And thank you all for your presentations. All three of these programs fit our criteria so well. Next slide. But only one can win our first place prize. And the winner of the 2023-2024 Bay Award goes to Petaluma for normalizing safety gun violence prevention.
Yay!
Thank you all. And we look forward to seeing all the programs again next year for the Bay Awards. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Jen, for organizing that, and thanks to all the participants and all the folks who submitted, and for the job that I know was tough to make the decision about those top three and then who the winner would be. So thank you. All right, it's now my pleasure to present the President's Award. And the President's Award, I'm calling the WOW Award for Women of Wonder. And first, let me say that I've been very fortunate to work with an amazing group of women over the past 2 years as president of the board and of our leadership team. And I have to say, you have been, as branch members and branch leaders, very well represented by this group, who are all dedicated to equity. You've seen it today in our presentations, and you'll continue to see it. They're also passionate about AAUW. They're passionate about sharing their talents. They're passionate about teaching, and they're also passionate about inspiring others to move forward. And they are tenacious, and they're dogged in their desires to facilitate change and to to stand up for their beliefs. So I would like to quickly acknowledge who's on the board. You've seen most of them already today: Charmin Goring, Tracy Clark, Deanna Arthur, Sigrid Morantz, Kathy Ford, Shauna Rule, Marcia Swales, Diane Owens, Mary Isaac, Lana Widman, Amy Hom, Dawn Johnson, Missy Maseko, Karen Vanderwerken, and Sharon Siebert. There's one person this year who shared all three of these characteristics while facing some significant personal challenges. Did she give up? No. Did she give in? No. Did she inspire us all to work harder, to be compassionate, and to be thankful for our place in the universe? Unequivocally, yes. I'm in awe of this individual. She's a Spitfire. She's tenacious, or I think actually a better term for her is stubborn. She just doesn't give up. And last year, we discovered that she can sing. So I want to share with you the President's Award this year goes to Mary Isaac. She's amazing, and I don't think she's with us this morning. I think she's facing some challenges right now. I didn't think it was possible for anyone to work as hard as she did through chemo and surgery and camp docs and getting two new camps ready for this coming year. And she didn't let a ball drop along the way. So I want to thank her for her dedication. And she is just an amazing individual. She dreams big, she works hard, and she makes it happen. So thank you, Mary. All right, it's time to move on to our next class. And that class is Tech Trek. And I don't think that Mary is here today. She was not feeling very well today. She's still going through some chemo. So I'm going to do my best to share with you a quick update for Tech Trek. So Tech Trek Alumni Community Advisory Board is coming together nicely, and they produced a handbook and they did their first newsletter, and we'll find a place for that on the website soon. We did have a successful 23 camp season. We had 8 residential camps at 6 campuses, enticing and inspiring 687 students, and 1 virtual camp that had 112 students in it. We're well into the planning process for the 24 camp season. We've got 2 new campuses coming up. Now one of these names is going to be different. We had to do a little bit of a substitution. Camp Carson is going to be at Santa Cruz this year, and Camp Hopper will be at Santa Clara. Both new campuses, a lot of work to get that organized and moving. So far, we've received 1,300 applications. The group also updated the Tech Trek policies and procedures along the way to try to make it more reflective of our current processes. And this is an amazing figure. We passed the 15,000 mark on alumni. Imagine that. We have touched the lives of 15,000 girls. We also implemented CampDoc, and we're in the process of implementing QBO, the QuickBooks Online for all branches and camps for the upcoming camp season. All right, so Deanna, are you ready to give us an election update? All right, well, I think that she's having technical problems, so let me just say that there was no election that was required this year because we had the same number of candidates as we did open positions. So this is your 2024-2025 Board of Directors, which will be led by Charmin, Kathy is returning, Tracy's returning. Rebecca is new to the board this year, and she has been working with us on the GovTrek program. Michelle Baer is going to be working with us on the technical components, and I've been working with her for the last couple of months. Sigrid returns. Deanna, who is the committee chair, is going to join as the director this year. Amy and Melissa are returning, and Donna and Lata are new to the board this year. So we welcome them all to our family. All right, the next thing is to choose your elective. Let's see.
Hold it. Emergency, Madam Principal.
Yes.
We have an
Yes.
emergency here. We have an emergency fire drill. I've been
Okay.
informed by the fire marshal that it is imperative that you stop screen sharing at this moment so that we can
Okay.
go over the instructions for handling the fire drill.
Okay.
And so that I can begin, so that I can go over those instructions with you. All right. Please, everyone pay very careful attention here. I need to have you all file out in twos with your fire drill buddy at this time, holding hands. And I want to make sure that everyone is present and accounted for in the courtyard. And everyone, you must stay until we get the all clear message from the fire marshal. So please stay with us here now. But just like Disneyland, while you're waiting in line, we're going to give you a little bit of entertainment. And what we want to talk about for a moment here is that no one has lit a bigger fire under AAUW than Sandy Gay. And since Sandy is now finishing her term as your president for the last 2 years, we thought the only way to celebrate her contributions to AAUW California at this back to school event was to give her a report card. So let's grade our president, Sandy Gay. The first thing that we want to look at is, well, the first thing we want to do is get to the next slide. So we want to look at how did Sandy do in her homework assignments? Did she accomplish all of her assignments? Well, look at that. She got an A++ in homework. Now, as in any report card, our teachers, of course, all of the people on the leadership team that she has been working with for the past 2 years have added some comments personal to Sandy's report card. So let's just take a look at how she did with her homework assignments. She had a lot of assignments to complete. She managed a large leadership team for 2 years. Anybody who's run anything knows what that takes. She started and championed the new GovTrek program. She launched this whole idea of peer groups that you've been hearing about. She pulled off multiple events just like today. She was a key player in TechTrek's transition to going online. She worked with all our marketing consultants and built all of the proposals and scope of work and all of the fulfillment of our new marketing strategies. She revived a lot of our legacy programs as she wrote all kinds of clever articles, and she created written procedures for everybody to follow, so those who come after her can do at least half as good a job. So what did the teachers have to say? Oh, exceeded expectations. Love learning new things and teaching fellow students an asset, a visionary student who uses creativity, energy, and solution-oriented thinking. Her commitment to AAUW is her greatest gift, a tireless worker, and she should get an honorary degree. That's what the teachers had to say about that. So what else did we grade Sandy in? Well, we graded her skills development, of course, in which we gave her an A++ again. So what in her skills development, we graded her in her leadership. What did we score her on? Oh, she was visionary, creative, forward thinking. She held all of us to very, very high standards. She supported every committee and every director. She kept everyone on their toes. She ran great meetings. You saw an example of that today. She supported all of the innovative ideas that everybody presented her. She maintained constant communications, oh so constant. She mentored and trained. She taught us how to fish. She resolved a lot of sticky issues that kept her up at night. You know, things like closing a Tech Trek camp. And how about those yellow postcards we all remember? She worked on those kinds of things. She advocated for us with national at all times. She stuck to a very formal strategic plan. She's a big thinker. She saw the forest for the trees, and she inspired change. So what did the teachers say about her? Through mentorship, she sparked numerous aha moments. She resolved sticky issues and met them with well thought out solutions. I mean, these are brilliant attributes of her leadership skills. In the words of Ben Franklin, well done is better than well said, and that was Sandy. Her leadership skills were highly developed with compassion. She showed exceptional qualities of leadership and a pleasure to work with. We praise her as a mission champion for her inspiration and leadership. And she's not just a mentor, but she was a role model. And if you double dog dare Sandy to do something, she'd do it no matter what it took. So what other skills development did we have to grade Sandy in? Well, most definitely her use of technology. Oh, Sandy brought us into the Google world, kicking and screaming, but she brought us into the Google world. She capitalized on Zoom right from the beginning and made it work for our organization. She developed and hosted all kinds of webinars. She managed our entire website on top of her presidential duties. She was pivotal in redesigning all those beautiful weight pages that we've been bragging about all day long. She got our social media all refocused. She created all of the beautiful flyers, social media posts, website pages, forums, surveys, all those things that you see on our website. Most of those were done by Sandy, and she fearlessly used tech tools to improve our operations. So what did the teachers say? They said, she completed her advanced placement tests in technology. Under her tutelage, Google transitioned from being a foe to a friend. Her infrastructure development, design, and implementation work has been truly outstanding. You can tell that comment came from a fellow techno geek. Her technical prowess and creativity elevated everything that we did. She built an infrastructure of technical tools that's critical to our operation today. She was exceptionally talented and gifted, innovative, a patient teacher, very generous with her time, a techno whiz, and a visionary. So we have one more thing that we needed to grade Sandy on, and that was her personal development. How did Sandy do as a student? Another A++ in her personal development. And in that, we wanted to look at how do we grade her for her effort and attitude? Well, she worked without sleep for 2 years. I can absolutely testify to that. She had a can-do attitude. There's nothing Sandy turns down. She's uber positive at all times, upbeat, always available to help. She gave all of us extra training. When we couldn't find something on Google, she showed us how to do it. She got us through the hub, and she helped us find all of the tools and learn how to use the tools that we need. I should mention, she took on a lot of extra work on her own to help National implement the Community Hub. As you all know, they were struggling a little bit with that. It was our president, Sandy Gabe, who got in with them and held regular weekly meetings to help them navigate it and make it better for the rest of us. Sandy never quit making things better. And what did the teachers say? Exhibited extraordinary patience, that is for sure. She upskilled her classmates. We all worked hard, but she always worked hardest of all. Her willingness to share her technical skills and expertise with the other kids was noted. And no matter how challenging a situation, Sandy remains calm and reassuring. And then in the words of our incoming president, who said, I can't add anything to these amazing comments, but I can. And I just want to add a personal note that when I first met Sandy 10 years ago, and she took me as a co-pilot on this journey to Crazy Town, AAUW, I never knew that I was going to meet a leader as dedicated, hardworking, super smart, creative, wise, and patient. And I had to use all my thesaurus words for that, as Sandy. But what I didn't know I was going to get out of it was a new best friend. So thank you. All right. So because Sandy earned an A++ in all of her subjects, Sandy is our AAUW California Class of 2024 valedictorian. Well, but we're not done now. When you're a valedictorian, you get all the rights and privileges pertaining thereto. And for that, I'm going to turn it over very briefly to our incoming president, Sharman Goring.
The incoming president probably should have stepped away during that report card because, my God, that's super intimidating. try to follow that act.
All right, hold on, incoming, because I just lost my slide. I was doing so well.
We do have party gifts.
And there we are.
So we thank you so much, Sandy, and we know that you love chocolate. So you have sitting beside you a box that came early of some special dark truffles for you. We also have for you getting an email tomorrow morning. We have subscribed you for a year of the Book of the Month Club. You'll have so much extra time for reading. So every month you'll get to choose a book to engage your mind in, since you'll be having, no more time with us, or you're going to be on speed dial, so you're going to be coming back a little bit and helping. But we just want to thank you for all the hours and hours that you have spent helping to move us as a board and AEW California, all of our branches forward. And we really appreciate your dedication, and we'll miss you. And your best friend sidekick.
Yes.
So thank you so much. So look for your email tomorrow from Book of the Month Club, and you can start enjoying that.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, so the fire marshal has given us the all clear, and I'm going to return this back to you, Sandy. And I know that right now your head is exploding because I have thrown you so far off schedule. I hope it was worth it. I'm sending it back to you.
Well, it's a fitting way to end the day, and I just have to say thank you. I'm going to cry, so I'm just going to say thank you at this point in time. I appreciate your heartfelt words, and really I appreciate how hard you all worked over the last couple of years, because I'm not the only one who was up long hours. I appreciate that, and I feel like I have gained a lot in this experience. So if there are any people out in the audience who are wondering whether they want to participate in the board in the future, get your applications in, because it is an amazing experience where you get to meet other amazing people and to learn from each other. And it's a wonderful experience. I need Don's thesaurus to come up with some more words. Okay, so let me see if I can find where we were. So I hope that you're seeing choose your elective. And if you're not, if Miranda or Julika can tell me. All right, so now is an opportunity for you to decide where you want to participate for the last section here. So we have several opportunities for you. The first one is to meet and greet our national AAUW National Board members. And Diane Owens is going to host that session. You can join Kathy Harper to talk about how to advocate for transgender students at school board meetings. Sharman and Tracy are going to talk about open membership and give you an opportunity to discuss the proposal to eliminate the degree requirement for membership. Deanna Arthur is going to host a session where you can meet your new state board directors. And unfortunately, we had to cancel our Tech Trek alumni group meeting today. So how we're going to do this is I'm going to stop sharing. At this point in the session, members participated in breakout rooms. The meeting was adjourned at 12:45 p.m.